Every year at SEMA, we try and stop by the Holley bar, and this year Liz Miles is tending, and there are some new parts here that are like new today new.
Yeah, these are almost as new to you as they are to me. These are for LS1, 2, and 6, and also for LS3. They are single plane EFI, and no, I don't have them here, but non-EFI, just carb only square bore intake.
Well, what's very cool is that these are primarily designed to be fuel injection parts, but more and more people don't want to see fuel injection under the hood. Putting a classic muscle car together, or you want to hide something, you don't like to look at the wires. Now you guys are doing more manifolds to make that happen.
Right, and what's neat about these is even though it's a carb intake manifold, we can still put a throttle body injection unit on it, like our Terminator EFI throttle body. That's a hardcore gray. I think you've seen that coating. Throttle body injection unit. You still have it super clean like this without the fuel rails. If that's not what you're looking for. Then if you are, we've got the answer for that too.
And what about the performance of these manifolds? Where do you recommend them?
Well, this being a single plane intake manifold is aimed towards a higher RPM. Our dual planes are low RPM engines that aren't highly modified, that probably don't see over 6,300 RPM. That's just a general, my general rule.
Well, I think it's funny that an LS motor will see 6,300 and not really be super high performance, but a first gen small block could be out of air, you know?
Right.
Because these things just flow so much air.
Yeah, they did a really good job designing those factory heads.
Yeah, and so the dual, how many of these are all brand new?
These are all brand new.
So everything we're looking at here?
Yes.
Wow, that's a borderline exclusive. And do they know availability on when these things are going to be ready yet?
Spring would be safe to say.
And I also noticed that you do have the option of running the throttle body and the rails. Are you guys selling the rails?
Yes, we've had these LS rails available for quite a while. They're available for a lot of different engines, depending on which spacer kit, bracket kit you use. This throttle body is actually new as well, if you want to take a look at that.
Oh, cool.
It's designed after our NASCAR throttle body, and is essentially the Terminator throttle body without the injectors.
Oh,
so
sweet.
it's a dry throttle body that you would use with our port injection kits.
So it seems like every year Holley also comes up with easier ways to get LS motors into different kinds of cars, and we in our shop have been using the LS pan, conversion pan, because it tends to fit pretty well, but I'm seeing a new one hanging here.
Yes, a couple years ago we came up with the 302-1, which is a cast aluminum factory style oil pan, but with clearance for our early muscle cars and trucks. We've now come out with the 302-2, which is an even better clearance oil pan that has more room for tie rod ends and things that we found in different models that we need to account for. To go along with these oil pans, we have two new baffles that are designed for racing. One for drag racing and one for road racing, because they do want a little different thing, and they're available for the existing pan and our new pan.
One thing I think is kind of interesting is that just by my eye chronometer as I look at this pan looks shorter, but it's also got different types of clearance.
It is shorter, but it has 0.2 higher port capacity.
Oh really? So it holds more?
Technically, yeah, not much, but it definitely doesn't lessen the capacity with the increased clearance.
That's cool. That's cool. And then the baffles, there's one for each of these. So, and this is extra.
Correct. This is extra.
So if you don't want to do any road racing, you don't need it, you don't buy it.
Yeah, the factory baffle that comes with these pans are great for the street and some mild autocross, but if you're really pushing it, you really should have a baffle in any case, even outside of ours.
Yep. And there's a couple of big mouths sitting here. What's going on with these throttle bodies?
Yes, well, we needed something bigger, so we came out with the 105. We've had smaller ones, the 102 and the 92. This is the 95 and the 105. And they come in this, I don't know if you can see, this is a tapered radius and a straight radius. Same deal, some people want swear by the straight radius, some people like a tapered, so we have them both available. It's just a real slick, hard coat anodized billet aluminum throttle body. It's programmable TPS, so if you have an existing fuel injection system that doesn't allow you to customize your TPS sweep like ours does, you can customize it here. You can
Really?
adjust it, yeah. So if you have 5 volts to work with, you can make it work within that suite.
I see the slotted adjuster.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I almost forgot, you can block off the PCV too.
Oh, good, good. And are these all black anodized, or they
Yes.
come in different finishes?
All black all the time.
Very cool. They set up this pretty neat display. This is a second-gen F-body Camaro Firebird subframe with an LS motor and a whole bunch of their parts on board. The dual quad intake manifold, their front accessory drive brackets. You know, one thing I noticed is in the past you buy the brackets for your AC and alternator and all that stuff, but you still got to get the parts.
Right, and even getting the brackets at the junkyard, it's getting really difficult these days. Maybe you don't know exactly what alternator or what AC compressor to get with it. So we offer all of the components with all of the brackets for 3 different mounting depths, depending on what your donor car is or what your new application is. And these headers are long tube, mid-length, or you can use our steel cast iron manifolds if you wanted
like
to.
the ones hanging behind us.
Yes, just like those.
And the crossover is pretty interesting because a lot of people get in a bind building one without considering the car, the subframe, and the exhaust.
And the driveline angle.
And the transmission, right, exactly.
Right.
So what is this designed to accept as far as transmission?
We have one to accept the manual and one to accept the automatic that would normally come with an LS. So
you
like a
could do
4L60E
Sure.
or a T56.
Very cool. And then I'm also seeing the X and the mufflers and the tailpipes.
Right, we have a whole hooker stainless kit with our VR304 mufflers that are all new. They're TIG welded, stainless, beautiful, and exhaust that goes up and over the axle, so you don't have to have some kind of cheesy downpipe thing for a really clean application.
So even though we've got a whole bunch of new parts here, it's not all EFI related, but Holley obviously being the fuel system company, there's some new carburetors. People probably can't imagine that there's anything new to do with carburetors anymore.
It keeps evolving, and you know, the truth is carburetors work. They do a good job. So our newest is our E85 Ultra HP. Now E85 needs more volume. So if you try to use another carb, it just isn't calibrated right. So we spent a ton of time in testing, getting the right calibration for E85. We also replaced some of the materials inside, the accelerator pump diaphragm material, to hold up to the alcohol content. This coating is also totally corrosion resistant. It's our hard coat, anodized hardcore gray finish.
Cool.
And we have it on a lot of our cars because it got so popular, but it does a double service of being alcohol resistant.
You keep mentioning alcohol. In this, could this be used as a straight alcohol carburetor or just the 85?
Just the 85 because it's calibrated for that.
Gotcha.
And we do sell a little E85 tester that tells you what % your fuel is.
Really?
So you know you're in range. And it's pretty inexpensive.
I can imagine that just station to station, that's different. I mean, I'd imagine the 85 isn't that.
Yeah, well, you can't trust really any fuel at the station.
Right.
If you're getting a fuel from a race fuel distributor, I would trust them, but it would be a great idea to test it. Since this can't calibrate itself if you're off, you would at least know where to start if the fuel was off.
And this does offer additional tunability for altitude and LS and stuff?
Absolutely, yeah.
Just like any other Holley HP series. Very cool. And I think in the past we've seen that this is probably the last piece of the E85 fuel system from Holley.
Right, we do have our billet pumps, regulators, and filters that are all E85 happy. Well, any alcohol happy.
So this answers the question. Yes, there is a demand and a need for this stuff for E85.
Absolutely, and it's growing. The more stations pop up, the more people see that it's not the newest thing. You know, it's not new and scary. That it's been around long enough for people to feel comfortable. That it's becoming more popular. I mean, it's cheap race gas, basically.
Well, yeah, that part we always liked.
Yeah.
So I guess people were contacting you guys about doing these?
Huge demand. Huge demand.
Very cool. All right, so when is the availability of this?
This is on the shelf right now.
Oh, great.
Yeah, this is ready to go.
Very cool. All right, well, listen, Liz, I appreciate the tour of the Holley bar once again.
My pleasure.
Some very cool stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.